enough blood in the body,
Thank
then
you.
it can't reside in the heart. But they also have this idea of ghosts, which like spirits can have an influence on people as well. I think it.
Okay.
But maybe also programming everything we're receiving information, and then if
Yes,
we're not deciphering, then that could be a poisoning as well.
that's true. Thank you very much. Wonderful. I'm grateful. Tablet. And all of you, Nana, iPhone, Geraldine, Ruta, can you please just, participate?
Hi.
Hi. Can you guys participate by
Yes.
just turning on your videos? At least I can see the faces of the people I'm talking to. Yes, Fire Tablet, tell me.
Yes, mental poisoning.
Yes.
To my understanding of mental poisoning is things that you accumulate that is unnecessary. There are times you would get a feeling to, hey, I need to get this, but do I really need it? But because maybe it looks pretty and maybe I might use it sometime, but I don't really use it. So that's how I look at mental poisoning.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And iPhone 202, are you there with us?
Please, I'm driving, so when I get where I am, I'll just put my video on, please.
Okay. And Ruta? And Geraldine?
I'm here, but I'm on the train. That's why I don't have. But I just want to start by double checking. I'm double checking if everybody is on the class. It's supposed to be 7 people. I cannot see everybody.
Yeah.
So you need to check the names.
So I'm seeing iPhone.
Can you do that?
202. I'm seeing Nana, Geraldine.
I don't know the names of the. Yeah, Geraldine, Aya, I know. I don't know who on your table is. And Nana, I don't know who this. I can't see the names.
Okay. Okay. No problem.
So we just thought if people have problem logging in, I'm just checking on WhatsApp and I cannot see the 2 people are missing anyway. And Suzette is not here yet. She's supposed to be on it.
Maybe she will be joining soon.
What was the question?
Sorry guys, I'm at work, so I can't really put on my video. I can't come online. I mean, like to unmute myself. So I'm just going to be in the back.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. I understand. Thank you.
So that's my favorite.
Okay, no problem. So we're asking the question, what do you understand by the word mental poisoning?
Social media is mental poisoning. The environment around you is social poisoning.
Okay.
It depends on what you allow to pose in your mind.
Okay.
The people around you.
Okay.
The social poisoning. Write it down.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We are grateful. Okay, so moving forward to today's seminar. First, what is mental poisoning? It is important that I bring your attention to the fact that there are 2 types of poisoning. One, which is you have your pen and paper with you so you can jot down, take down important facts. Although I will be sharing with you guys my written booklet so that you can have it for your own, studies, personal studies, intellectual studies later on. But first of all, there are 2 types of mental poisoning that you guys must understand. There are 2 types of poisoning, which is one, mental and physical. Mental poisons are wrong thoughts, which walks underground in consciousness, like contaminated stream, to emerge even after years in wrong experiences, illness, loss, unhappiness, etc. If I'm speaking too fast, let me know. If I'm speaking too slow, that you're not understanding also, please let me know, by all means. So in as much as physical poison can destroy your body, mental poison can keep your mind, can keep you bound, and make you a slave to selfish desires of others. Their negative thoughts and yours as well. Not just a slave to other people's negative thoughts. Your mental poison can also keep you a slave to your own thoughts. Your negative thoughts can also keep you bound. So there exists within each and every one of us an invisible antenna. This antenna is fueled by the influence of the moon, the waning and the waxing of the moon. And this creates a psychological problem in humans. You see, the mind is the antenna that receives the evil thoughts projected through space from the mind of another person. How is thought transferred? Do you see thought when it is being automatically transferred? No. Thought is transferred through space. And the mind is that antenna that attracts these thoughts. The mind attracts these thoughts. And also you should understand that poison thoughts are like arrows, like darts, arrow darts, that is flying through the ethereal realm, and this has killed and has claimed many innocent minds. Poison thoughts, they are like arrows, they fly. You don't see them, but they are piercing. Every day they are piercing. There's what is called the Cupid arrow. How does the Cupid arrow work? First, it starts with a sight. And then that is why there's a saying there's an ancient Sanskrit saying that says, if you want to remain undisturbed by the influence of people, don't look at people's eye. Because by looking at people's eye, that is where the Cupid arrow is firstly released. So thoughts, poison thoughts, are like arrows, darts flying through the ethereal realms, and this has killed and has claimed many innocent minds. Evil thoughts and wishes born in hate gather momentum like a hurricane. And this descend upon a helpless man or woman. Our society remains at the mercy of the evil influences created by the mind of the vicious. So first of all, let us understand what are the offsprings of mental poisoning. Number one, hatred. Number two, self-pity. Number three, old age. Number four, loneliness. We are going to talk about this as a discussion, but just have it down. Don't let your thought bully you. How does your thought bully you? A lot of people, a lot of us, we are afraid of the bully as external bullies. But what about the internal bully? The mind, the internal bully that is ready to bully you at all times. What about that? How is that mind? How is it bullying you? Now, when we talk about this internal bully, it operates in different levels. You guys must understand. We're not just talking about how the mind can easily, make you think things that you don't want to think. No, we're not talking about that. Be careful. Don't let your thought bully you. Means don't become a puppet of your own mind. You see, mind control is not something new. A lot of you might have heard the statement, mind control, but it's not something new. And which is the first way a person can be mentally poisoned? It's just when you know how to control the mind of anybody, you can easily, direct their movement, their thoughts, their pattern, everything you can easily direct. So mind control is not something new. In fact, every time you see a television or a billboard advertisement for any kind of product, they are inducing you in a kind of hypnotic trance. Every time you see an advertisement, a billboard sign, anything you see is all to induce you in a hypnotic trance. For instance, the geniuses behind television ads, they use humor, comedy, to make people think and feel comfortable. And in this process, you know, they use this technique to gather information or to manipulate another person's mind into doing what they want. If I tell you that most of the time when you walk down this shop or when you go to a hyper mall and you walk down through the hyper mall, majority of the time, most of what you buy are actually not what you need, but what you are being hypnotized to buy. How does that happen? How do I get hypnotized? Every single moment when you go into a shop or you click online, there's things that is just there to hypnotize you, to mentally control you, to do things that you don't want to do, to act, feel, you know, in ways that you don't want to do, you don't want to. And which is the easiest way to manipulate people? Emotion. Emotion is the easiest way to manipulate people. It is the easiest way to make people do things that they don't want to do by knowing how to play the emotional card. You can make people to feel happy when you make people give emotion to people that make people feel happy. Oh, you know, oh, I'm very happy. I'm feeling satisfied doing this, but it's just nothing but just an emotional manipulation. It is much easier to make people feel a certain way rather than appealing to their logical side. It is much easier to make people feel something rather than trying to speak logically to them to like, hey, you know what, you need to learn to think for yourself. You need to learn to use intelligence for yourself. No, just make them feel something. And you should understand that majority of the ads that you see are designed to act fast using emotional manipulation, not giving you time to think or weigh your options. And here is why you must understand that your mind can either be a boon, a blessing, or a bane, or a curse, depending on how you allow it to be susceptible to hypnotism. Mental poisoning is nothing but just hypnotism, a psychic phenomenon. And everyone on the surface of the earth is being hypnotized. Every second, every minute, we are being hypnotized by what we hear, what we feel. We are being hypnotized. Every second, even right now, you are being hypnotized. Now, the hypnotism that is happening here is to open and direct your thought pattern in a different way. Are you following me? So your mind, this is to let you understand that your mind can be programmed or reprogrammed. Now, you should beware of what? Beware of the poison of the palate. What do I mean by that? Beware of what? The poison of the palate. What do you guys understand by that?
Could that be like what we're eating, what we're absorbing?
Yes. How what you eat also mentally hypnotize you. What you eat also have a psychic phenomenon, has a psychic influence on you. How? One of the easy way to control people, one of the easy way people can be mentally poisoned is through their food intake. How you eat, what you eat plays a big role on your mind. Too much or too little of eating is not good. Yes, we understand that. In every food that is cooked carries a certain energy, goodness, passion, or ignorance. And that is why when we eat certain food, it induces a happy feeling. And then some food induces the feeling of anger. And then there's still some food that when we eat them, it induces this feeling of sadness within us. Since time immemorial, food has been a major source of emotional trap that has been used to control people, nations, and empires. Food. In the art of warfare, one of the major ways that enables victory is food control. Food plays a big role in boosting the morale of the people. And that is why you will see that for any major warfare, food supply is very, very paramount. Food supply. And this has been used strategically, since the beginning of warfare. Once upon a time, the Ottoman Empire, they defeated the Roman Empire in Turkey. Why and how? By cutting off their food and water supply. After days of laying siege, by doing so, it greatly affected the morals of the warriors, of the Romans, and the people, that they had no other option than to willfully surrender. When a human being is starved of food, it brings out what? The survival instinct in them. And they will be ready to do anything to survive. And I want to bring you back to a certain point that is said, how many of you know Stalin? Have you heard of the word Stalin before? Stalin is a dictator, was a dictator. He killed millions of people, billions of people. He killed. It's just like you've heard of Adolf Hitler. There's also Stalin. So once Stalin, the dictator, to prove a point to his commanders on how people can easily be controlled, he caught hold of a dog and a chicken. So he held the chicken in his hand and he pulled off the feathers of the chicken. The chicken is still alive. And he pulled off the feather. The chicken cried in pain. It cried in pain and was, doing whatever it has to do in pain because his feather was being pulled off. And Stalin dropped the chicken on the ground. The chicken was very much under pain. But what did he do? He brought out some grain from his pocket and he poured it in front of the chicken. And what did the chicken do? The chicken instantly started pecking on the grains, on the maize that has been dropped in front of it. It started pecking on it, forgetting its own pain. It was so concentrated on wanting to eat the food. Similarly, for the dog, he took a cane and he smashed the dog. The dog was howling and barking and howling. He flogged the dog and left the dog. It was written in his pain, like it was really, really the dog was really under heavy pain. And what did he do? He took out fresh meat and he threw it in front of the dog. The dog was in pain, but he forgot his pain to just eat and lick on the meat. And even after doing that, he tapped the dog and the dog was wagging its tail in joy. And what did Stalin do? Stalin looked up at his commander and commented that humans are like this dog and chicken. He said, you brutalize them, beat them, throw stone at them, do whatever you want to do to them, but throw a little reward at them. By giving them a little reward, they will easily forget and they will fall at your feet, forgetting the abuse that they have suffered. How food plays a lot of role in how the human mind becomes mentally poisoned. Another interesting fact is to understand another interesting fact is that brutality and suffering is transferable. One of the most effective way of transmitting suffering is by touch and food. And that is why you see when a person have wound, what is the first aid that goes first to wherever that wound is? If a person,
I guess, like pressure, so that
sorry?
If someone has a wound, like pressure.
Yeah, let's say for example, someone has a cut, where is the first aid, that the first thing that goes for a treatment to that wound is what?
I guess it depends. Maybe water if it's not clean. I don't know.
Ice.
Sorry?
Like ice. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
All the pressure.
Okay.
The mother would put salt.
Salt. Okay. The
Yeah.
first thing that goes into it is the palm, the hand. Because the hand has it has a healing power. It has the power of soothing. And that is why whatever pain a person have, the first thing that touches the body first is the hand. And that is why it is important that we understand that, please, can you mute yourself? I don't know, what's that? It is important that we understand that suffering can be transferred. Brutality and suffering is transferable. And one of the most effective way of transmitting suffering is by touch and food. There is a study that suggests that during the killing of an animal, the oxytocin, level is raised exponentially. That this fear factor arises when the animal witnesses its fellow animals being slaughtered in a most horrible way, or simply being slaughtered in front of their eyes, knowing that their turn is next. This fear transmitted into their consciousness and into their flesh. When we eat this meat, it creates a lot of mental instability in the mind, in the life of so many people. And that is why you will see that many people that eat meat, many people, that are heavy meat eaters, suffer from diseases related to the mind, like mental anxiety, schizophrenia, and fear. Because the fear that the animals feel is being transmitted into their flesh, and you are eating that also.
I have a question that's related to what you say, but also a little bit on a tangent. Because it makes me think of, in some African cultures, they do, like in healing ceremonies, they do oftentimes sacrifice an animal. And oftentimes they will eat that animal altogether and use the blood of the animal for healing purposes. Would the fear still be there, or is the prayer that they're doing changing?
The fear is still there.
Okay.
The fear is still there. And that is why you should understand that in African prayers, whenever an African ritual is done, for whoever the ritual is being done for, there's always the fear that the problem is going to come back again. Because whatever rituals you do relating to blood is just a temporary fix. It's not a permanent fix. And if you eat the flesh of that animal that has been sacrificed, the problem that was put on that animal is also transferable to whoever it is that has partaken in that feast. And that is why you should understand that there is no ritual that is done with the usage of blood that always have a permanent effect. Rather, in the life of the people that does those rituals with animal sacrifices and everything, there is always a repercussion. That fear level is never depleted. It increases more and more.
And that's true, because oftentimes they do talk about that it's a pacifying effect, and that it needs to keep happening, like that. Yeah.
So please, we must understand this. You are a product of psychic inheritance. We are all product of psychic inheritance. To a certain degree, we all inherit the good and the bad traits of our parents, like their physical features, their oral expression, as well as their thinking pattern, which is basically related to the mind. You and I, me, you, Aya, Fire Tablet, Nana, Ruta, what's her name again? Where is it? Yeah, Suzette, Geraldine, an iPhone 202. I don't really know what that is, but all of us, we all, we are all product of psychic inheritance. And because we are all product of psychic inheritance, we must understand that most often the primordial darkness of our parents' unexpressed conflicts, their vengeful thoughts, their unresolved, unconscious, and frustrated energy comes alive in us, their children, in a later stage of our life. And this is what is called the ancestral curse. Are you understanding? This is what is called what? The ancestral curse. Because the ancestral curse is nothing but unresolved, dark, unresolved and unexpressed conflict that is being suppressed by our parents. Their vengeful nature, their vengeful thoughts, their unresolved conscious and their unresolved unconscious and frustrated energy that is coming alive in us, their children, in a later stage of our life. And this causes diverse psychological disorder in the lives of children, because we inherit what? The primordial darkness of our parents' thoughts, their unexpressed conflicts. And that is why there is a process called the cleansing of the womb. Before a woman is impregnated, before a woman gets pregnant, she passes through a certain ritual called the cleansing of the womb. Why does she have to pass through that ritual? I'm going to explain it to you guys in a few stories from now. So just stay tuned. First of all, let me explain this in this pattern. One drunkard has two sons. Two stories I'm going to explain to you here. One drunkard, he's very drunk. He's so addicted to drinking that he had two children. And every day the children observe their father drinking. And because they observe, their father drinking, one became a drunkard and the other vowed never to touch a drink in his life. Anything drink, he avoids it. And then one day, a monk was passing by and he asked them, "You guys were born from the same father. Why you were born, your father is a drunkard, but why do you decide not to be a drunkard? Why is your own life different?" And what did the boy say? He said, "Do you see the kind of a father I have? Do you see the kind of life he had? Do you see the kind of life he lived? I don't want to be like that. I want to be better than that. I don't want to drink. Look at the kind of example that I have. I don't want to be like that. I want to be different." The monk said, "Okay, thank you for the answer." He met the other brother that was a drunkard and asked him, "Why are you like this?" And what did he reply? He said, "Don't you see the kind of father I have? What kind of what do you call it in English? What kind of example did he teach me? He was a drunkard, so naturally I follow in his footsteps." So we all choose good or bad examples based on what? The unresolved conflict in our parents, that as we grow up, we try to understand this conflict. A lot of us, there's so many conflicts that we've inherited from our parents that we are just trying to make sense of as we keep growing up, as we are increasing in our life, we are increasing in our age, we are just trying to make sense of everything that is going on in our life. And because there's this unresolved conflict, there's this unresolved primordial darkness that we've inherited from some of our parents, that it makes us do things that most often are actually not us, but just based on the influence of our parents. And then we start growing, we grow to want to grow out of those, inherited things that we've inherited from our parents, like to find our own path. Oh no, this is the baggage I've inherited from my parents, but I want to find my own path outside of those baggage. But it's difficult. Some people get lost here in this baggage. Some people get lost. Some people don't even know how to find themselves outside of that baggage. And because some people get lost here, they become drunkard, they become drug addicts, they become whatever it is you want to call it, they become that. Because in one side, here is their own destiny pulling them, but in the other side, here is the primordial darkness that they have inherited from their parents pulling them. And that is why they said a child is nothing but a mixture of both his parents. And that is why if you look at your face, look at your body is not the same. Your right side belongs to your father, belongs to your mother, and your left side belongs to your mother. Go look at your body. Your eyes are not the same. Go and look at your eyes properly. One eye is that you've gotten from your father. The other eye is that you've gotten from your mother. Look at your body, even in the woman anatomy. The human anatomy is not the same. The breast is not the same. Why? Because one is for the father and the other is for the mother. And it is just been merged together. That is a fact. And because it has been merged together, we are trying to find out, to understand what we are. What am I supposed to do? Because there is a darkness that we've inherited from the parent that is like a shadow over our head. And in that shadow, we are trying to find a light outside of that shadow. And this psychic inheritance, which is the curse, the curse that we've inherited, it's difficult for us to come out of. The second story I'm going to explain to you is that of a king. His name is called Vena. This king, his father's name is King Anga. King Anga, he tried for so many years to have a child. He couldn't have a child. He was in so much anxiety. He was so much distress, so much stressed, to the extent that he couldn't sleep. And then one day, he went to meet a sage. A sage is a holy man. And he said to them, what negativity have I done in my life that I deserve to not have a child? If I don't have a child, who is going to carry on my lineage? My ancestors are going to curse me. They are not going to be happy with me. My lineage is going to be ruined forever if I don't have a child to carry on the authority of my family. And I said to him, don't worry, we are going to do some special prayers for you. So they did prayers for him. He had a son. This son was called Vena. But this son, when he was born very cruel. Very cruel, that he will play with his friends. By playing with he will strangulate them. When he plays with friends, he will strangulate and mash their head, break their head. He will kill them. Whenever the call of blood is something that he tries upon. Growing up, the father could not tolerate this. The father left home and handed over the authority of the kingdom to him. Now, Vena became so notorious in his killing of people that one day, a couple of intelligent, wise men, they gathered together and they said that, why is this boy like this? They looked at his father's history. His father is a very gentle man. They look at his father's lineage. In his father's lineage, they are very gentle. But why is he born like this? And they say, yes, he's born like this because look at his mother's lineage. His mother's lineage, they are criminals. His mother's lineage, they are demoniac. And because he was born from the womb of a demoniac mother, he also has inherited the curse that is in his mother's lineage. And this is the point where Garbhadan Sanskara comes in, which is the purification of the womb. And that is why that whenever a woman is pregnant, before a woman is pregnant in an African culture, in Indian Asiatic culture, it is important that the womb of the mother must be purified and cleansed. Why? Because of so that whatever psychic inheritance the child is going to inherit, it shouldn't be that will become destructive. And that is why you see that there's a lot of women, they have children right now. Their children are like threats to their own existence. There are children that are like, how come a child is born, but then that child becomes a hired killer, becomes a assassin, becomes a murderer, becomes a rapist, becomes, whatever, all dark thing you can ever imagine. How did that child get to that point? Because it is a psychic inheritance of the primordial darkness that is in the womb. The consciousness of the child is the first place that the consciousness of the child is shaped is not after the child is born, it is when the child is in the womb of the mother. The primordial thought that pervades the minds of the mother. Just like as I explained to you guys in my last seminar, which I explained to you that, when the child is in the womb of the mother, it has this energy vibration that it is vibrating. And in that process of that energy vibration that is, that is being vibrating in the body of the child, it absorbs quickly whatever negativity or positivity that might be in the lineage of the parent. And that is why it is said, cleansing of the womb is most important. But the question is it the physical womb that is being cleansed or the mental womb? Which of the womb is being cleansed? A lot of people do so many things. they go for surgery, you know, I want to clean my womb. No, that is not the womb. The womb that is being cleansed here is the womb of the mind, because the mind is also a womb. The womb of the mind must be cleansed. Why? Because the kind of thoughts that dwell on the mother's mind when she's pregnant for her son or for her daughter, that is what is going to determine the consciousness of the child as the child grows up. So when a woman is extremely angry when she's pregnant for her child, the child is gonna be born, and the consciousness is gonna be what? That of anger. When a woman is extremely jealous when she's pregnant for her child and the child is born, what kind of nature do you think the child is gonna have? Envy. When a woman is very scared, very, very scared when she was pregnant for her child, and this is one of the things you should understand, that a lot of people that mentally control people, this is what they do. They first of, when a woman is pregnant, especially these people that are that goes into trafficking of people, that goes into, you know, using people for whatever it is that, you know, women for whatever it is they want to do. When they're pregnant, they put them under a lot of duress, a lot of fear, that the child that they give birth to becomes nothing but very fearful and, you know, very obedient. Because that fear has been instilled in the mother right from when the child is conceived in the womb, and hence the child is growing up in fear, growing in, you know, developing in fear in the womb of the mother. When the child is born, also the fear is around. And that is why in African culture, because this understanding of psychic inheritance is very, very most prominent, that is why you say when a woman is pregnant, don't make her sad, make her happy. Because that is going to determine the kind of a child she's going to have. Do you have questions before we continue? Questions? Are you guys understanding?
I have a question.
Yes, please. Ask.
So how can one cleanse the womb, that is the mind?
Beautiful question. How can one clean the womb? That is the mind. The womb of the mind can only be cleansed when one is conscious of every thought that pervades or swamps through the mind. And how do you do that? By being cautious of your breathing. Being cautious of what? Your breathing. How you breathe speaks a lot about the kind of thoughts you allow to attack you. And how do people get easily mentally hypnotized? Control your breathing. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Control your breathing. Why? Because thoughts, every thought you are feeling right now, every thought that is going on within you right now is nothing but a manifestation of breath. And if you're able to slow down the movement of your breath, if you're able to slow it down, you will see that the noise of your mind also diminishes. Do you want us to do a practice on this? How many of you is thinking right now? Okay. Fire tablet is thinking. Now imagine your thought. Imagine you are angry. An angry thought is just dominating your mind. And the moment you start breathing in, is that anger still going to be there? Why? Because breath has power. Breath has power. And when you are able to control your breathing, if you are able to control your breath, you can control your emotion. You can control and you can create a psychic aura around yourself, a psychic shield around yourself that blocks you from being affected by the negative thoughts of other people. And that is why it is said, to the unregulated mind, to one who has not learned to conquer his mind, the mind is what? The mind is the worst enemy. I guess following. To one who has not learned to conquer his mind, the mind is what? The worst enemy. But to one who has learned to conquer the mind is the best friend. You follow? So how do we clean the womb of the mind? We clean the womb of the mind by learning to regulate the thought pattern. Our thought pattern is regulated by our breathing. Learning to clean the womb of the mind is not like, oh, you know what, let me just, I wrote something some days ago that I sent to the people that are on my WhatsApp group. I sent them a message with, no, not them, on my WhatsApp status. I said that, what's this? Okay. I sent them a message, and what was the message that I sent? I said that we must understand. How did I put my word? I lost my thought process now. Okay, but the point is, to clean the womb of the mind, we must learn to have a conscious practice. When there is no conscious practice, it is impossible to clean the womb of the mind. And to do this, we must have, proper understanding of what it is being done. And why do you think people say when you're pregnant, think happy, happy? Why do you think people say that? In Africa, when a woman is pregnant, or before a woman is prepared to be pregnant, she passes through a stage of a ritual process. A ritual process whereby she's been cleansed, she's been baited, she's been anointed properly, she's been given very nice, clothes, very nice ornament. What is this to do? It's nothing but just a psychic mental manipulation to just make her happy. Because what your state of mind is at the time whereby you are copulating with your spouse is also going to determine the kind of soul that is going to be attracted into your womb. Who asked the question? Is it Nana or Geraldine? Are you understanding?
I asked the question, please.
Okay. So whatever your state of mind is as at the time that you are copulating with your spouse also determine the kind of soul that is going to be attracted, to your womb. And that is why there is this process whereby when a woman is pregnant, before she copulates with her husband, the elders, they bring her closer, they sing for her, they make her feel happy. They dress her nicely, they plait her body nicely, they scrub her nicely, they give her new clothes, new dress. Why? Because it is nothing but a mental game to make her feel happy. So that when she copulates with
what year did the people do this? I never heard of people doing this.
Sorry?
2022, nobody do this.
Oh no, they do.
Where? What country?
Africa. They do. In Africa, in India, they do.
Okay.
The process is what? The process is to make the woman's mind happy. So that when she opens her portal, which is her body, whatever soul is going to be coming out from the body of the husband into her body will be a joyful soul. And you should also understand that copulation, a lot of us right now, we have sexual relationship just for pleasure. Just for the pleasure that comes out of it. And because we have sexual relationship just for the pleasure that comes out of it, the child that is born out of that union is also mentally disturbed, because it is also born with what? The psychic inheritance that it has also inherited from the parents. It's not able to break free of those psychic inheritance.
A question, please.
Who is speaking? Nana, yes.
Yes. So how can you help such kids if they are born in that circumstances?
Well, To help such children, first of all, you must help them to have a grasp on their thoughts first. Because everything starts with a thought, with a mind. One must help them to be able to have a grasp on their mind. And how do you do that? Guiding them in a more conscious and mental state of awareness. Okay, you're doing things, you're acting, you're behaving. Whatever you're doing, you have to be aware. You have to be, a more practical, holistic way of living. This is how you'll be able to help them. But right now, everyone don't want to do this because everyone is thinking, you know what, I'm a better parent. I know how best to parent my child. Nobody's gonna tell me anything. I know what to do. I don't tell me anything, like that. And in this way, everyone is suffering. Each and everybody that is here in this forum right here, they are all suffering from a certain mental inheritance that they have inherited from their parents. They are battling with their own demons. And some of these demons are sometimes very, very bad. Some of these demons are very heightened sexually, as sexual demons. Some of these demons, that is a fact. And some of these demons are some certain urge and cravings that you don't expect, you don't know where's these cravings coming from, where are these urges coming from. You don't know, but the urges and the cravings are there. Are you following?
And so
Yes.
if someone does have those kind of demons or things happening, then what do you do for that?
That is where, and that is how people right now, they are trying to turn towards spirituality. You see, it is in a way to run away from these demons. That is why people take to spirituality or take to religion practice, because in their head, they think that by taking to religious practice, I can be able to push away these demons. These inherited demons that I have inherited, I can push them away. And maybe I can be better. But doing that is just another way of running away and not accepting that, okay, yes, I have these demons. These demons are there. I have them. Accepting them is number one key. I can't push them away. They are there. All right, I've inherited them. But now I can rise above them by conscious practice.
So you accept them, but then you learn to differentiate maybe when your thoughts, and by the breathing exercises and stuff, when your thoughts are yours and when they're not, so that you're not being a slave to these desires that are not yours.
Yes, you're correct. This is how. And when we don't do this, there's a lot of mental problems that happens. Energy is being bombarded left, right, center. Mental anxiety, mental stress, everything.
With accepting them, do the thoughts then quieten down and lessen? Do they disappear at some point? Do the spirits then leave?
Accepting them gives you control over them.
Okay.
But when you don't accept them and you're like, no, this is no, I reject it. When you do that, then they have more strength over you. They have more control over you. We must understand this. Okay, moving forward.
Thank you.
The power of friendly persuasion. You guys understand what that is? The power of what? Friendly persuasion. Do you know that you can be mentally poisoned by friendly persuasion? The power of friendly persuasion. Friendly persuasion is one of the most easy and powerful techniques that is used by con men to gain your trust. With friendly persuasion, it is difficult for you to differentiate between a wolf, from a wolf to a sheep, or from a sheep to a wolf. It is difficult. With friendly persuasion, you can show to others that you care for them, which is likely to make them feel more comfortable for you to be able to manipulate their thoughts and their action. You see, this technique has been used by religious leaders, politicians, teachers, media people, narcissists, or basically people in power to manipulate and control people's thoughts in their favor. This technique is most subtle. It's very subtle. You don't know. You won't even be able to detect it if you don't put your eyes down and if you don't know how to control your breathing process to really be able to see, beyond that. It's very subtle. You won't know, and it is undetected, undetectable. It is used even to this day. The question you should ask yourself right now, which I want you to ask yourself, and I want you to also, answer me. Are you right now under any kind of spell of friendly persuasion? Question. Are you right now?
I think,
or are you on any kind of spell of friendly persuasion?
I feel I am, in the sense of religion, because I love Hinduism and Tantra, but my family is Muslim, and it's very, I've been trying to like find, through Sufism, accepting Islam in that way, but I always find myself coming back to these practices. I feel that it's that, yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's very good. So, iPhone 202. Have you fell into the trap of friendly persuasion before?
I would say yes.
Okay. Okay. You will say yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Nana. Geraldine. iPhone 8, 9, and Jeffrey. Suzette. Have you fallen into the trap of friendly persuasion before?
Yes.
Okay.
I've said many times yes, but I start to learn a lot with what you say now, so a lot of things confirming. Because we do, where especially with a lot of people that they say they're professional, you need help, or you go as in many ways, even like from certain people, and they hack in a way like, to groups you in, like, yeah, they can help you, they can support you, but then after you start to really listen and start now, then you realize they can't help you. It's either they just want your money or want their name to get big or something, but you realize no. So yeah.
That's good.
But I learned now, the best to just, I think, I know you're not a person that read Bible, but me, I do, because I learn a lot from it. Although my parents always tell us that the Bible that we're reading, it's not the original Bible, it's been dismantled. So I learned what to take from my natural head, what makes sense. So it's like the Bible says, don't let them know who you are until you finish eating. So I always remember that the back of my head when I listen to someone needs support in any way to listen and learn. So yes, you're right. I like your teaching. They help us to confirm and to be aware.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say something. Like for me, I wouldn't really say I have an influence by peer pressure or something like that, because I feel like if I want to do something, it's at my own will to do it. So like if I want to go for something, I go for it. I don't really think that someone can really influence me to do something which I feel it's not correct or something which I don't want. So I'm not really influenced by what people think. Like I just go with my own impulse.
Okay. All right. Thank you. How many of you have been in love before? All of you have been in love before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you are in love, what do you think is happening in love?
You don't even know what is happening. You're just, it's like you're blindfolded and just upon, I
That is
think.
called
Influence.
persuasion. That is called friendly persuasion.
You're doing things without thinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is called friendly persuasion. So one thing we must always understand, we must understand this, and that what must we understand? And that is, there is a girl that is in love with a boy. You see, she's so much head over heels for the boy that she's ready to do anything just to prove her love for the boy. It happened that one day, the boy was walking and he committed some crime. And he was afraid of going to jail. And then he told the girl, I love you so much. I really, really love you so much. But if you love me, please take the fall for me. Tell them that it was you that did it. Don't tell them it is me. You tell them that it was you. And out of love, out of what? Out of love, she said she's the one that did it. The girl was taken to prison and the boy was free. And after some years, the girl was released, but the boy is now married with another woman and enjoying his life. When the girl came to meet him and told him, but I did this for you, he said to her, and so what? That's what he said. And so what? So when we talk about friendly persuasion, you guys must understand. You guys must understand that every day, every minute, you are under this tech. This persuasion is very difficult. It's very, very subtle. You can never differentiate it. It takes intelligence to be able to differentiate between falling under the mental hypnosis of friendly persuasion and being mentally poisoned in that. Because it's difficult for you to differentiate between who is a sheep and who is a wolf, who is a wolf and who is a sheep. It's very thin. You won't be able to understand it. And when a person wants to take advantage of you, when a person wants to, rob you of whatever you have, how do you think they're going to show it to you? Do you think they will let you know? What is the difference between a diplomatic person and a cheat? What is the difference? The difference is that a diplomatic person is diplomatic, does not want to offend you, but the difference is what their intention. The difference between a diplomatic person and a cheat is their intention. And a cheater knows he wants to cheat you. He has the intention to cheat you. That is what he wants. He knows that. From the very beginning that he met you, he knows that. Intention is the difference. And we are all under this. We are all under this. It's very difficult to detect the power of friendly persuasion. And
Speaking about love,
yes.
sorry, I understand that this definitely is a thing, but at the same time, people can still experience like real love, right? I think they can, but for divinity, if they come together and they can, for the purpose to be closer to God, I think there's practices where this is real.
I understand your thought process. First of all, what is love? You must understand. What is love? Yes, Mr. Jeffrey.
I think love for me nowadays, I'm seeing it on a different level. I think love is spiritual, not physical. It's deeper than the word we say.
Okay, that's
I
interesting.
think love is the grace of this moment.
the grace of this moment. Okay.
Mm.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Geraldine, what is love? Nana? iPhone 202 and Ruta.
Oh,
What is love?
oh my God. Love is, I don't know, like it's difficult for you to even find a definition these days. But I would say it's like you having each other back. But are we to know if the other partner has my back, or it's kind of difficult. So
Okay, thank you. You guys tried. Yes, Mr. Jeffrey, I understand your point. Aya, also I understand your point. So what is love? Love is not just about coming together, having a union, or, oh, you know what, I need to have a heart-to-heart connection with you. So that means I love you. Or like you said, the beauty of this moment. No, that is not love. Love is understanding that you are a different individual and respecting you for what you are, not trying to dominate you or not trying to change you from what you are, but just accepting you as you are. Like she said, love is a feeling with understanding through wisdom. Yes, that is correct. Accepting you as you are. You're imperfect. Okay, no problem. In whatever imperfect you are, in whatever your imperfection is, no problem. That is what you are. I'm not going to compromise you. I'm not going to change you. I don't want you to change because of me. Just be yourself and be happy in that. That is love. But in this day and age, the love that we have for one another is you change and act according to what I want. And you should understand that right now, the love that people have for themselves is nothing but just a mental game of power. A mental game of power, whereby we mentally and subtly want to control the other person's emotion and feelings, but also we don't want to do it in such a way that it doesn't appear that we are trying to be controlling of the person, but it's just a subtle mental game of power. A subtle mental game tussle that we're fighting again and again. We're trying to, control each individual. That is what it is.
Hey, hey. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I said hello. Say hello.
Mama. Okay, so it is important that you guys understand that when we talk about friendly persuasion, it is one of the most easy and most powerful technique that is being used by conmen. When a conman wants to cheat you, he wants to cheat you of your money, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to first of all make you feel comfortable. He's going to first of all make you build trust in him or her. Is that not so? And once that trust is being built, then they do whatever they want to do. And this is where a lot of people feel shattered, because they've developed a certain trust that is so difficult for them to raise themselves up from that level again, because that trust has been built. And it's like, oh, how did this happen? So we must understand this.
So is there a difference of like divine love and like the relationship love that we have?
The relationship love that we have is nothing but a perverted reflection of the original love. Because the relationship love that we have is based on what I can get from you and what you can get from me. It's tit for tat. And hence it is a perverted reflection of the original genuine love. The original genuine love is It doesn't, it's ever compromising. It does not judge you for what you are. It does not like look down on you, no, it's just accept you for what you are. And that is why a lot of people feel safe in the sight of God. Why? Because they feel that God accepts them for what they are. God does not judge them. God does not, is that Mr. Joe? Yeah. God does not judge them. God does not, criticize them. You want to sleep out, you want to sleep, okay. You want to laugh, no problem. God doesn't do that. And hence, if like, I feel this divine love in the sight of God. Now, that love that is being felt, you should understand that it is nothing but a radiation that is coming from the soul. And because there is the presence of the soul, that is why you can see a person and feel this, there's this feeling that you have for that person when you see the person, because there is the presence of the soul. Now, the moment the soul is out of that body, there is no love anymore. So the question is, who are we loving? Is it the body or the soul? It is the soul, not the body. One day, I was walking on the street. This was some years ago. And I came across two boys. No, one boy and one girl. They were sitting, loving, kind of like, I don't know how I went on that journey, but then I went into a certain, garden area. So I like to write. This is my nature. I like to write, especially poetry. I like it a lot. So while I was looking for a place to sit down quietly so that I can meditate on my thought and, pour down my thought into paper, and then I saw this boy and this girl, they were smooshing up and hugging themselves, they were liking themselves and everything. I was like, I was just looking, and then I don't know, I'm crazy sometimes. I went to meet them and told them, like, I asked the boy, do you love this girl? He said, oh yes, I love her today. She's my heart and soul. I said, really? He said, yes. I asked the girl, do you love him? She said, yeah, he's my darling. I said, really? He said, yes. Then I asked, so if this girl die now, I asked the boy, if this girl die now and her body is decomposing, will you take the body and keep it in your room and like, this is my heart and soul, this is my all and all, this is my loving, will you keep the body in your room and still be smooshing with it as you are doing right now? He said, no, I'm not going to do that. No, it's a dead body. I'm not going to do that. And then I asked, so what is the difference between that dead body and this body now? He couldn't answer me. He couldn't. Which is also the same question with everybody that is here. Whoever it is you love right now, no matter how much you say you love them, if the soul is outside of the body and the body is dead, do you still take the body and go and keep inside your house and like start perfuming it? Oh, I love, this is a beautiful body. Do you do that? No. So who is being loved? Who is
the soul?
The soul. Voila. Now you're getting there. So when we say I love somebody, what are we really loving? It is the soul, the presence of the soul in that body. That is what is creating that attraction between my soul and your soul. Because of the presence of the soul. So it's a connection of souls. My soul recognizes your soul, and hence I love it. The spark that is in your soul recognizes the spark that is in my soul, and I love it. That is what is called love.
Sorry. So then that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that and explaining that. So then when choosing a partner, it becomes important that they first acknowledge soul.
But of course.
And that you can connect in that way so that you can have that kind of relationship. So then you can have, would that be like forever love? Would that be the eternity when you're connecting with the soul, the other soul of a person?
No, it is not an eternity. It is until the duration of the body is over.
Okay.
Because when the duration of the body is over, the journey continues again. The soul moves on again. See, the body ends. The body ends. but the soul does not forget the people it had a relationship with in his past life, in his or her past life. The soul does not forget. And because the soul does not forget, that is why there is this remembrance. And that is why when you meet somebody, you feel this connection with them. Like, oh, I don't know what I'm feeling with this person. It's just so unique. Why? Because it's nothing but a past carried over experience of the soul, not of the body, of the soul.
So it's not eternity, but it's like a until I see you again.
Voila, yes, until I meet you again. So when we meet again, we continue from where we stop. Understand? Okay. Any question on this before we move forward? Okay. Understanding psychic powers.
Sorry, so would you say, hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, so you talked about the soul.
Yes.
You said it's the experience of the soul. Can the soul lead us to make bad decisions about love?
I did not hear the last time you said. Can the soul do what?
Can it like lead us to make bad decisions about love? You know, when you fall in love with the wrong person, and so I'm just trying to connect how the soul comes into, I don't know.
How it comes into play.
Yes.
You see, the soul does not make us to make decisions in regards to love, bad decisions in regards to love. It is the mind. You see, the duty of the soul is to recognize whoever it is it was with in his past life and, genuinely connect with them. You see, when you meet the people you were with in your past life, there's this calmness that comes over you. But then there is the desires of the mind. And these desires of the mind, the soul is bound in the body and is controlled by the mind. It's just like a man sitting in a chariot, but has no control over the chariot. The soul is like a passenger and the body is the vehicle. The mind is the driver. So the passenger has no control over what the vehicle is doing or what the driver is doing, because the mind is the driver. And because the mind is the driver, the mind makes decisions that the soul has nothing but just to tolerate.
So how the one come, because if it's a driver, for example, and the other passenger, so how do you communicate to the driver so it drops you in your direction or exactly where you're gonna go?
The soul tries to communicate.
For example,
the soul communicates with the intelligence, but the thing is sometimes the mind also overcomes the intelligence. The soul communicates with the intelligence because higher than the mind is the intelligence. But the mind sometimes overcomes the intelligence. The mind negotiates with.
So then it becomes spiritual. In terms of the battle will become spiritual for you to find.
Yes, and that is where this is where there are the conflict of thoughts, the conflict of opinions. Be like, I'm hearing this, I feel like I should do this, but also there's this desire that is also there that I also think I should do this. And I'm being put between this thought and this thought. Should I do this or should I do that? Should I do this or should I do that? Why? Because the intelligence is trying to communicate what the soul is wanting, but the mind is also trying to communicate to the intelligence that no, you don't need to do that.
Funny enough, what you're just saying is kind of like I had the relationship, my first relationship I've had, and I feel like it was genuine in the sense that even though I haven't seen the person, or even to today we still communicate, but that was, yes, we're young, but still, it was like that person, even when we were together, it's like endless peace and talk about, like, it's smooth, it's easy. And ever since then, I think I've not find that same easy, smooth kind of, yes, relationship has up and down, but there wasn't no up and down in this one. It was for 4 years. There wasn't no up and down. It's like when we see, we talk, we do this, we're doing this together, we're doing it together. We'll go do that, we'll come back. What's going on? What we're cooking? We'll be there in the kitchen talking for like till the food is cooked. Now it's like you don't have that. It's yeah, I know.
Yes, this happens
I know what you
because
mean.
these are the decisions that is made with the mind. But when you meet, actually, a lot of us in our lifetime, we meet people from our past life. We meet our past lovers. We meet our past husbands. We meet our past wives. We meet our past children. We meet our past, friends and colleagues. We meet them. They all come around us. We meet them in different ways, in different roles. It's just that sometimes they act in the role of a father. Sometimes they act in the role of a mother. Sometimes they act in the roles of a brother. Sometimes they act in the roles of lovers. We meet them. But when we meet them, there's this connection that is there. Now, when that connection is there, what happens? This is where the intelligence works. If I tell you that in your next life, the boy that is going to be your father and the girl that is going to be your mother in your next life, you've already met them. You've even carried them in your lap. This is the reality.
I think our kids.
Not your kids. Sometimes your parents, your next life are not your children. But you've met them. This is how the universe arranged it. You meet your father in your next life. Whoever they are going to be, you meet them. You will come across them. They may even be those children that are so stubborn that you don't want to talk to. You don't like to see them. Okay, so let us move forward to psychic powers, understanding psychic powers. A lot of people believe that psychic power is limited to the ability to make things appear and disappear. A lot of people believe this. Oh, you know what? He's a psychic. He can do some abracadabra. Bam, 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 bam. He can change my life overnight. He can make my problem disappear with just a poof. All my problems have disappeared. A lot of people believe that this is what psychic power is about, or this is what psychic ability is about. And people are so much running after this left, right, center. I need a psychic. I need someone to change my life. And people are even advertising this. You know what? I can make your life better. I can change your life for you. I can do this for you. I can do that for you. But we should understand that to see things that are not easily seen by the physical eye, and in this context, a lot of people are bound by the trickery of conmen and magicians. Let me rephrase my word. Let me start from the beginning again so you guys can follow my thought pattern. A lot of people believe that psychic power is limited to the ability to make things appear and disappear, to see things that are not easily seen by the physical eye. And in this context, a lot of people are bound by the trickery of conmen and magicians. It is important that we understand the difference between a magic show and a true psychic ability. It is important. Psychic power is the ability to be in alignment and oneness with the universal cosmic energy. That is psychic power. That is genuine psychic power. The ability to be in alignment and in oneness with what? The universal cosmic energy. Genuine psychic power does not entail in disappearing or manifesting of items. No, it doesn't. Genuine psychic power does not entail solving your life problem. Or, you know what, your child is dumb, I will make your child to hear. You know what, I can make you to walk upon the river. You know what, I can make you disappear and appear here. No, genuine psychic power does not entail all of that. A lot of people fall into this trap of so-called psychic healers, psychic prophets, etc. And I'm going to share with you guys a story here. Once there was a lady who was having problem in her marital life. She met with a so-called psychic who has the ability to see things into other dimensions and heal all kinds of problems. In her desperation, she approached him to make things work better between her and her husband. The healer said, "No problem. I will cure your problem and restore the love between you and your husband. But for me to do this, I need to come to your house and do some sacrifice." The woman agreed. They fixed a date, and the psychic came when the husband was not at home. Lighting candles around him, he summoned a spirit and started speaking in different tongues, eating broken bottles and not bleeding. Which she's not breathing, which terrified the woman even more. He then proclaimed that the house will be peaceful now, that the spirit has been manifested in the house. However, there is a condition. The woman has to immediately slaughter 7 piglets as blood offering for the work, is what is required for the work to be done. Either this or she have to have sexual relationship with a psychic. Else she will die. There will be no peace, and no peace will prevail in the house. The woman, already fearful based on everything she has seen, and not having the piglet for the sacrifice at this exact moment, had no other choice than to give her body. If we analyze this story, we can see how the woman falls under the illusion of some extraordinary force and no other choice than to go along with the psychic demand. When this woman approached me, which is me, I instantly took a pity on her and explained to her how she has been mentally manipulated into having sexual relationship with a psychic, which was already his premeditated goal. Now let us discuss about this. How many of you are falling into this kind of psychic phenomenon in your life?
No, I haven't.
I think in a way I have, like, to, getting to know someone and thinking their intention is one thing, but then finding out later that it wasn't necessarily what it was.
Okay. Another story was, there was a student that came to me some years ago. You see, this student was in love with a boy, and being so much in love with this boy was already, this man actually was in love with a man, and this man was already married, and she is a student that was just in the university, just came out of the university, very fresh from university, just 25, within 25, she's in her 20s. So she came to my office here in Mauritius, and she was very, very much traumatized, like mentally disturbed, mentally traumatized. And she was telling me she was so much stressed that the boyfriend broke up from her, and she wanted him back at all cost. At all cost, she wanted him back. And hence she told me, please do anything you can do for me just to get him back. I said to her, no problem. Right now, I'm not going to be able to do anything for you. You come back after some certain time. I gave her a certain time period. In between that time period that I gave to her, she went to meet other, people that are spiritualists around and everything. And then when she came back the next time, she told me a story. And that story is what I'm about to tell you guys right now. She went to meet this man, an elderly man, who is she's far older to be his granddaughter. And I narrated the same thing to her, and he said, don't worry, I will solve your problem for you. Don't worry. Hey, don't just come to my house. She went to his house with the hope that he's going to do, everything, for her. And she went to his house, and what did he do? He told her, you sit here, we're going to do some, some rituals. I'm going to call some spirits, to come around and come and do something. So you sit here. So he lit candles around her, and then she sat there, and he started doing some hoblo joblo, jumping here and there, doing some abracadabra, etc., 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 etc. And what happened? The lady, she was fearful because he was calling things, and she's already she was She was already in this mental state of fear and at the same time of expectation. Because the way the man is projecting himself, like he can do some, extraordinary things, like bring things out of this, out of the thin air. And in this way, he started touching the girl's body. While touching her, he told her, don't do anything. This is not me. It is not me that is acting. It is the spirit that is acting. Doing this, he took advantage of the girl, had his way with the girl. And then after doing all of this, he told her, if you say to anybody, I will kill your father, I will kill your mother, I will kill you. I will tell my spirit to kill you. Now, the girl has already been put in this mental, hypnotic state that she's already fearful. And it has put her under this bound. And when this girl came to meet me, she said, I don't know if I tell you this, I don't know if I'm going to die tonight, but I just I trust you and I want to share with you because, I came to you the first time, but then you were not available to attend to me. So, I just want to share this to you. And then she explained this story to me. I was boiling within myself, like, this is wrong. This is wrong. And hence, a lot of us, we fall into this trap, especially when we are desperate for a solution. When we are desperate to come out of a problem, we fall into this trap. We fall into this mental trap. Now, this mental trap, for so different people, it can be different. Some people, they lose their money. Some people, yeah, they sexually, they were taken advantage of. But then for some people, their money was lost. They lost money just because of what they are looking for a solution. And they fall into this mental trap. So now let us analyze this story, this first story that I explained to you guys, whereby the psychic eating bottles and not bleeding, already creating fear around the woman. If we analyze this story, what do you think happened there?
Maybe I've been thinking about this, like, so sometimes do we not know like what spirits people are working with necessarily to be able to do these things or to gain this information? It doesn't, just because they know something doesn't mean it's from a higher, like a good spirit. It could be something demonic.
That is a fact. That is true. I like that. Thank you for the wonderful contribution. Yes, that is true. But also we must understand that for anyone to be able to fall into any state of obedience, a certain level of mental control has to be applied. For you to put anybody in a state of obedience whereby they listen to you and they do whatever you want to do, be it a spirit or be it not a spirit, a certain level of fear, a certain level of, mental hypnosis has to be done. And how do you instill fear in people?
I think
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Jeffrey. Tell me.
yeah, I think coming from what you're saying is when desperation meets such people that already got the intention of where they're going, or if they have the power or not. I think that's where they prey on that your desperation and install fear into the person.
Indeed.
That's the way I see it.
Indeed. That is true. Which we must always understand that. So what is true psychic power? True psychic power is the ability, I'll come to you, Aya. True psychic power is the ability to transform a person's life positively, connecting them to their true essence and giving them a sense of calmness and clarity of mind. That is true psychic power. It's not the ability to make them feel powerful. You know what? You have this power now. No, that is not true psychic power. True psychic power is that ability to what? To transform people positively. Just by your presence around their life, they feel transformed positively. That is true psychic power. That just by you being there, there's this sense of calmness that comes over them. This sense of, genuine calmness, this peace. That is true psychic power. Understood?
That's beautiful. I want to ask you about dreams, because I think a lot of people, for example, I saw my granddad was going to die 2 weeks before he died in a dream. Is this is not necessarily psychic power, but being shown something?
That is not psychic power. That is not psychic power. That is, some people are blessed with the ability of precognition.
Okay.
No, some people, precognition is before it has happened already. Cognitive, some people are blessed with this ability of, to have, precognitive dreams, which is to see things before it happens. Some people are blessed like that. And this is also based on the influence of the moon. There are certain days of the moon that when we have a certain dream, it comes to reality. And there are certain days of the moon that if you have dreams, it doesn't come to pass. And also there are people that are born on specific days of the moon, specific periods of the moon. Whatever dream they have, it always comes to pass because they were born within that a certain period whereby the moon was under a particular influence.
Okay.
So these people have this ability of precognitive dreams to see things before it happens. Understand?
Yes.
Yes, fire tablet.
Yes. Well, my contribution is in a relationship, and I used to feel like I was walking on eggshells, and that was because of what the person did to get to me mentally. And me to start a conversation, I would have to bring myself to a place to approach the individual to ask a question or to ask. So look at that as the psychic control.
There's something wrong with our internet. Okay. Moving forward. Don't be a slave of your imagination. Don't be a slave of your imagination. What does that mean? Don't be a slave of your imagination. The nature of the mind is to wander in imagination. That is the nature of the mind. Imagination creates a sense of reality that we hide in. It is the plane at which the ordinary mind uses to travel beyond time and space. Everything is conceived out of what? Imagination. Imagination is also the rope at which the intelligence is bound. There are two types of mind. The undeveloped mind that has suffered due to abuse from early childhood, and the mind that has been loved from childhood. For both, the imagination is not the same. It is also important to understand that the moon plays a major role in our imagination. Every 14 days of the new moon, the mind is under a very strong universal current that if it is not guided with intelligence, it gets lost in delusion. An image of apparitions appear. An example
Can
is...
we go a bit slower, please?
Sorry?
Sorry. Can we go a bit slower, please?
Okay. Should I start from the beginning? Or...
That would be amazing.
Okay.
Thank you.
The nature of the mind is to wander in imagination. Imagination creates a sense of reality that we hide in. It is the plane at which the ordinary mind uses to travel beyond time and space. Everything is conceived out of imagination. Imagination is also the rope at which the intelligence is bound. There are two types of mind, sorry. The undeveloped mind that has suffered due to abuse from early childhood, and the mind that has been loved from childhood. For both, the imagination is not the same. It is also important to understand that the moon plays a major role in our imagination. Every 14th day of the new moon, the mind is under a very strong universal current that if it is not guided with intelligence, it gets lost in delusions. An image of apparitions appear. An example is schizophrenia. A person with schizophrenia hears voices and believes these voices to be true, even though to the ordinary eye and mind, there is no voice. So who or what is it that is speaking to the schizophrenic person? Is the question. What yes, go ahead.
My mother was actually diagnosed with bipolar schizophrenia. But she's a very spiritual person. She's a very beautiful person. And she had certain spirits actually, which they specifically didn't like me and one of my younger sisters. So I'm not sure, but I think there's spiritual influence.
Yes. Which, yeah, that is true. So what influences the mind of a schizophrenic person to see and to hear voices? Which begs the question, don't we all have schizophrenic episodes at some point in our life? You'd be like, are you saying that I'm mentally delusioned? Oh yes, a lot of us, we are. And here's a litmus test. Have you sat down and all of a sudden you felt that your phone is ringing, you heard your phone ringing, but actually your phone is not ringing? How many of you have felt that? Just give a thumbs up or raise your visual hand. Okay. Have you felt that someone is calling you, but no one is actually calling you? Okay. Have you felt that you see someone passing, but in reality, there's no one passing? Have you saw that? Okay. So we all suffer from schizophrenic episode once in our life. We all do. Why? Because we are under the influence of the moon. And because we are under the influence of the moon, once in our lifetime, this event comes to play. The essence of not being a slave to our imagination is to be able to use our intelligence, is to be able to use your intelligence as a bridge between reality and that which is not real. Some people are so deep in their imagination that they are not anchored to the real state of things. It is also important to understand that imagination is a fragment of a distant reality of a past life that we've lived before. Do you understand it? It is also important. Yes.
Sorry for the interrupting. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to, because I love to paint and I love to draw, and I go through different phases of doing different things. Like there's a period of time where I was painting a lot of like African or like masks, but they were lines, like line drawings of faces and like masks. But I had no idea like where this came from or why. I don't feel called to do this anymore, but could you speak on art as well and how that, the imagination?
Yes, I will. Just don't worry. I'm going to talk about it. So, coming to the point that I was explaining, and that is imagination, whatever imagination you have, is nothing but a fragment of a distant reality of a past life that you've lived before. But due to cosmic vibration influenced by the mind gets anchored to these thoughts. Which means most of what you think about or most of what you think you're imagining are nothing but a certain reality you've lived in, a past life you've lived before. A person being so imaginative of, you know what, I felt like I was a billionaire in my past life. Oh, I was a billionaire. How does it mean to have billions and billions? And then the person gets so lost in those thoughts. It's a fragment of a past life that the person has lived before. That what is happening, the mind replays this back. The mind is the moon. You should understand what right now, the moon is like this big motherboard that stores all your Akashic memories. And once every 14 days of the new moon, the mind releases fragment of these memories of these past lives that you've lived. It releases it. And that's why you feel like, oh, I feel like I was a celebrity before in my past life, you know. You carry yourself like that, you pull yourself like that, but you don't understand why. And then to someone that I know, they say the person is on a high horse. But what? It's just imagination. Yes, Mr. Jeffrey.
Yeah, what you just said just hit the nail there. Because for me, there's sometimes I would just be in a high this thing, I would be singing like I'm like, imagine me now just holding the mic in my head, that's what's there. So my colleague will be laughing at me like, Jeffrey, you need to go and take your meds. You're not well today. What's going on with you? I'll just be singing and singing and singing throughout that day. I know what you mean. Wow.
Because it's nothing but a fragment, distant, it's a reality that we've lived before. Every imagination you have is nothing but a reality you've lived before. For it to come anchored in your mind is because you've experienced it before. And hence it is being remembered. Whatever fantasy you have are experiences that you've had before. And that is being transformed. Oh, okay, I can't remember it now, but it's just there. You must understand. Today, I was speaking to my wife while I was writing, all these things that I'm writing down. And my wife was asking me, Sukade, where did you get to know all of these things? Where are you getting to know all of this from? Where is all of this, where is it all coming from? I told her it is because it's a life that I have lived before. It's a life that I have lived before. And in my hand, while I was writing, I was holding, I don't smoke, I don't smoke. But it's like a persona that comes upon me. I was holding a stick and I was holding it like this and I was writing. It's a persona that comes on. And then she was like, why are you holding your stick like as if you're smoking? I said, yeah, it's a persona. This is a fragment of a certain past life that I've lived that is coming to play right now. Which also speaks about the bipolarness, people with bipolar disorders. It's also nothing but fragment of a certain life that they have lived that comes to play at a certain junction. But because we can't understand them, we can't understand it, we term it as a disease. We term it as a sickness. So in summary, we're speaking, Nana?
Yeah, so how can we stop all those things? Because I've stated that thing when it's getting to the full moon, I get scared. And everything that I think about, it manifests. So how can those things, how can we work on those things?
The question is not to work on them. The question is not to stop them. The question is to understand them and accept them as it is.
But what I'm seeing, I don't like it.
You don't need to like it. Yeah, we don't need to like them. Nobody likes to know that they were once a killer in their past life. Nobody likes that. Nobody wants to know that, oh my God, I'm seeing something bad is about to happen. Nobody wants that, but it does happen. Why? Because we are under the influence of the moon. So when we see things like this, instead of being scared or instead of not wanting them or wanting, and this is where we keep ourselves in more mental anxiety, because we want to cut it off. And the moment you try to do that, the more you put yourself in a more state of mental distress and mental duress, because you can't. Cutting it off is like wanting to cut off from your shadow. Can you do that? You can't cut off from your shadow. Your shadow is your shadow. You can try to run away from it. No matter how hard you run away from it, it's still there. Your shadow is your shadow. So saying, I want to run away from my past life is impossible. Or I don't want to see things anymore. This here was one of my dilemma when I was in my teen, because from early childhood, by dint of my Guru Maharaj blessing, we could see things, we could hear things. It was then when I was young, I was not understanding so many things that I see, or so many things that goes on around me. Then people found me very, very disrespectful, because when I talk to you, I just look at you in your face and say, this is what's going to happen to you. So people find it very like, oh, this boy is very rude. I myself, I don't understand it. I don't understand what was happening to me. And every time I say, oh, this is a curse, why am I being cursed? This is my statement to myself that I used to say, I think I'm cursed. Because why can't I just have a proper relationship with people? If people come around me to talk to me, it's just like the moment they just start talking to me, then I start asking them, so why did you do this? So why did you do that? Like going deeper into their life and everything like that. So I saw that as a curse, because at that time it made it difficult for me to have relationship with my friends. I don't have friends. I don't have friends that were my age mate. It was elderly people, these were people that were coming around me as, like as a friend. So I wasn't happy with that. And I saw it as a curse. And I said, I don't want it anymore. I don't want it. I don't want it. I want to cut away from it. Until I met my spiritual master, and he taught me that, no, you need to embrace it, because it's part of you. So, Nana, being able to see things or being heightened.
So are you saying, because it's like I'm losing people around me, they think I know all.
You will.
And so because of that, I like to stay in my corner there, not to see anybody, not to hear anything.
You have to accept.
Sometimes it's scary, it's tormenting me a lot on that. So me accepting it, I don't know.
You have to accept it.
So when I accept it, is it going to stop?
When you accept it, then you have control. When you don't accept it, then you don't have control. You won't have control.
Okay, thank you.
God bless you. Okay, so I'm done with my write-ups. Now the floor is open for question and answers. Question, answers, whatever you have, shoot it to me. Questions, suggestions, additions, subtractions, all of the above. I'm ready.
So with the imagination, you raised your hand.
You go.
No, you raised your hand.
No, you go. No, I've raised it before. No, I raised it before. That was before when they say raise hands and stuff. You can go.
Okay, thank you. I was just going to ask about these remnants of like these personas or these memories. So what is the purpose of them? It's just because of the moon's influence, they just to play out? Or is there something that can be like, is there something that can be done with this for goodness?
It's two ways. One way is because of the way the mind is, and when the moon is in that 14th day period, a certain memory of a past distant life is being unlocked. And when those memories get unlocked, the moon shows you a certain reality of a distant life. So what do you do with those? You take inspiration from them. To those that are master mystics, to those that have mastered the science of occultism, that knows this science, they understand that, yes, my past life, the moon unlocks it for me so that I draw inspiration from them. And that is why there is there's something that says 1,000 years of yesterday. 1,000 years of what? Yesterday. It is for you to know how to draw inspiration from those events, but not to be trapped in those imaginations. And this is where a lot of people find it difficult. And
So,
yes, go ahead.
so would you say on those days you have to observe those days, and when you observe it, then you do a certain kind of prayers towards that day? So
Yes.
on that day, I mean,
on those days, what I do is I write, and I get good ideas on those days. I get into those imaginations of my past life that have been released, those loads of my past life. It's like a cassette, just the imagination runs wide. It's like a cassette. Those memories have been released again and again. They are your memory, but of a distant life, and you are just imagining it. When it is being released, you take a pen and write. And this is where the term auto writing, this is where it comes to play. And this is used by students of occultism. Have you heard of the word auto writing before? You've heard of it, Aya?
no.
What about you?
Wait.
Who have heard of the term auto writing before? Okay, you guys need to learn it. Auto writing. And it happens when you just take a pen, put a paper, and let the imagination work, and you find yourself writing. A lot of machines are designed by auto writing. Even a computer is designed from auto writing. Do you know that? The mobile phone.
Sorry, I always do that.
Yes.
That's what it's called.
Yes, it is called auto writing.
I've been doing that when I was a child. I didn't know that what it's called. My head, I feel easy sometimes. I just buy a book and just keep writing for no reason.
Yes.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
I don't know what it's called.
It is called auto writing.
Maybe if you would explain to say that you just whenever just pick up a book and just write. Everywhere you find, I'm full of paper around me, book. I don't know what it's called. I just do, and things come to me.
Yes, that is auto writing.
Yeah.
So you should understand yes, a lot of all these designs that you have, the phone, the house, everything that you have is all from where? Auto writing. And those ideas, where did they come from? From a previous past life. So learn to use it for your own benefit.
So I had stopped writing for a while because I got a little nervous because some of the things I would write, I feel like there was like a darkness to them. And I didn't want to like continue to because I understand that words are powerful as well. So I wanted to bring more light and like less darkness. But if it is that, you just let it be.
Of course. Because
oftentimes it starts dark, but then there is a light after. But just being in that process can be very
yes, it is.
intense.
But you need to. Else it will come back again and again and again and again in different ways. It will still come back again.
Yeah.
So in this seminar, I've let you guys understand the importance of mental poisoning, a psychic phenomenon, how everything that is going on around you is nothing but just mental jugglery, thoughts, pattern. Imagine you're walking in a busy, crowded place. In a busy, crowded place, just right now, I want you to close your eyes and imagine movement, of arrows just moving left, right, center, being shoot left, right, center, and you are moving in these directions. Now, what are the movement of these arrows? This movement of these arrows are people's thoughts. And you are just in the center of this crowd, this traffic of arrows of people's thoughts moving left, right, center. And your mind is like a dartboard that is being, that these arrows falls upon. And as these arrows falls upon your mind, you are acting, your thought is being shifted from one emotion to another emotion, one emotion to another emotion. But now the shield to protect you when you're feeling these arrows, just imagine these arrows moving. Now, how do you protect yourself? You are in this, it's like this, in this field, and these arrows are there. How do you protect yourself? Now you breathe in, you breathe out. You breathe in, you breathe out. You breathe in, you breathe out. Now, as you breathe in and you breathe out, I want you to see those arrows coming closer to you, but as it gets close to you, it gets deflected and it goes back again to another source, another person. Every arrow coming to you gets deflected and it goes back to another person. This is how you protect yourself from mental poisoning. This is how you do it.
So like when you do it when, like, you've had that kind of long day of the whole stress of everything, and then you just have a moment where you do the breathing exercise and all that.
Yes. And actually, even when you have those stress moments when you are walking, if you can be cautious of your breath, you will never be disturbed when others are disturbed. Because observe yourself when you are angry, when that feeling of agitation starts coming up upon you, when that feeling of anger starts coming up upon you, what is happening? What do you observe in yourself? Your breath quickens.
Breath.
You breathe hard.
Yes, your breathing process increases. The more the air intake, the air intake in you increases. And at that moment, if you can control that, then you can control your emotion. A lot of us, we don't pay attention to our breath. We pay attention to how we look, how people see us, but we don't pay attention to our breathing. And because we don't pay attention to our breathing, we are susceptible to the different arrows of other people's mind. And it is hitting us every time. Just like when you see a person that is angry, person is looking at you angry. Even if the person did not say anything to you, just by looking at you angrily, he has shoot an arrow to you. That at that moment, there are some arrows that don't act immediately. There are some arrows that act hours after, hours later. That just by you've seen the person angry, you don't know. You thought that, okay, you're okay. But then after some hours, you just find yourself acting angrily. Like, you just also start finding yourself getting into those moods. It's like, what is happening? It is the thought that has been projected to you. So how do you deflect yourself? Learn to control your breathing. When you're walking, be conscious of your breathing. If you're able to be conscious of your breathing, you will never be disturbed by any arrow that is being shot by anybody. Okay.
So in essence, the breath is the anchor.
Yes, it is the anchor. And it is the shield also. Apart from being the anchor, it is the shield. In anywhere you go, in any class of mindfulness that you go, what is the first thing they tell you to do? Learn how to breathe. A lot of us, we are living our life. We are living our life. We learn 24 ways of how to make money, 99 ways how to save money, this, that, that, how to dress nicely, how to do this, how to do that, how to cook. We are not learning how to breathe. So many of us, we don't even breathe.
Talking about that. Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Talking about that, funny enough, I used to play football and I was a goalie. I used to play football and I was a goalie.
Wow.
And the main exercise my coach then concentrated more on was my breathing and my abdominal in terms of how I control my breath. And when I get up to get the ball, the control of it, I should not be gasping for air. I should know how to control it and all that stuff. That was the main exercise. He concentrated more than my other part of it. Now saying that, I can tell I didn't know if there was so much to breathe it, but now you're saying that.
Yes, there is. There is. Because people's thoughts are projected to us and people's thoughts are all moving in the air. And when we inhale it, we inhale their thoughts. So every one of us is inhaling people's thoughts. Everyone. And that is why, when a person is sleeping or not sleeping, if you're talking to somebody very close and they are breathing and you can feel their breath coming upon you, that is bad. Because at that moment, whatever thought they are thinking comes also upon you. It may not be instant, but you find yourself after some few minutes, you start acting exactly like the energy of that person because they have released their energy upon you. And that is why when you say breathing and you're breathe out with your mouth, no, don't do that. And if someone is around you that is doing that, give a very long distance because that energy is being released upon you. It's been released upon you. And you find yourself just, you don't know, but you just get into that energy of that person.
A question, is it the same as getting everybody's energy?
But of course.
Tapping into people's energy, is it the same thing?
Yes. It is. When a person breathes on you, it's not good. Don't allow people to breathe on you.
No, yeah, so it's like we should be conscious of whatever we're doing, like the way we think, the way we imagine stuff. Like I can remember when I was very little then, like I imagine a lot, like from my childhood, I imagine a lot. So sometimes I just go off. Like I might be talking to my mom and I'm not there with her anymore. I'm in another world already. And immediately I get back, the question I will ask her is, where are we? Are we in this world? Like, you understand Yoruba? Like, are we in this world?
Yes.
Yeah. And, it started going on and on and on. And I felt like it's affecting me because before I know it, I don't know, I don't want to run mad. So I just, I have to take control of everything and put a stop to it. Because once I'm gone, and I'm just somewhere else, I don't know. And when I come back, I'm asking her that question: that where are we? Are we in this world? So
yes, it is true. And this, you should understand that as we grow old, a lot of us, we forget the ability to see into our past life. That imagination of the fragment of our past life stop existing in some people. Why? Because old age, as they grow old, how do you call it? They shelled, is it shell or You know, like when a skin
Shed?
shed, yeah. Yes, they
yeah,
shed it off.
yeah.
A lot of us, we do that. A lot of us actually have shed off our past life. And that is why they said in children, past life remembrance is more higher in children than in adults. And for people that are practicing occultic knowledge and all of that, when they want to tap into divine energy to be able to get ideas that can transform and change universe, they use the energy of children. They put children into those state of hypnotic trance and tell them, just draw whatever comes to your imagination. And the children will scribble and diddle. And, you know, most often we see sometimes we don't even know. Sometimes we get into a hypnotic trance whereby we just take a pen and we're just diddling. We don't know why we are diddling. We don't know why we're scribbling. We're just in that trance. We're just doing it. And we don't know, but we're just doing it. And it's just going like that. We're just doing it. But then we don't know why we're doing it. And then after some time, it's like we just snap out of it. We're like, what is it that I've done? It may be just drawing a spiral circle again and again, or just trying to paint something again and again. But we're just doing it, but we don't know why.
I do it a lot.
Sorry?
I do it a lot when I'm alone.
That is when we are getting into that state. So, yes, a lot of us, we have past life connections to some, like I said again in the seminar, like I said before, that majority of our imaginations are nothing but past life experience, a reality we've lived before. That is coming back again to the mind based on the influence of the moon. So do we push these experiences away? No, we should learn to extract inspirations from them. And to students of occultism, this is number one principle. And if you guys are learning from me, then it does automatically make you a student of occultism, because what you're occult, because whatever you're going to hear is nothing but just occultic knowledge. This is how it is. Extract information from the unknown. Where are you getting your ideas from? I don't know. I'm just getting it from the unknown. The unknown is where a distant reality I've lived before. You following? Okay. Yeah. Any question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, so just by you talking about that unknown thing, like so many things are actually coming to my mind, because sometimes when I do have some dreams, you know, when you're in a dream, but you feel like it feels like something which you experienced at some point. Like I'm in that dream, I'm feeling like it feels like I've actually got, like I know this exact place where I am, but I can't really say it's like it's really confusing. I don't know.
Yes.
And then I also feel like I don't know, like I have a mission, but I'm not exactly sure what that mission is, because like I'm really getting interested in things of the spiritual right now, because I can say I'm like trying to find myself. Like I want to know exactly what is my purpose. Because when I was little, like I used to just sit and then I feel like something is passing by the side of my eye. I'm the only person who sees it. It passes like a star. So I'm not sure what that was. I used to tell so many people. People were like, "Oh, when it comes, just pray about it. Release the bad spirit or something." After some time, it disappeared. Like it's not coming anymore. So I'm like, I just have a lot of questions I'm asking.
Yes. Firstly, we must understand that we are all trying to get back to what we were in our past life. Every one of us. And that is the future that we are looking for. What is the future? Your future is nothing but a past that you were before that you are trying to get back to. We are all trying to get back to a distant past that we've lived before. And that is why you see, there are some certain desires that comes upon you. I need to have fame. I need to be recognized. I need to be respected. Why? Because in a certain lifetime, you were respected. So in this lifetime, everything we are doing right now is just to bring us back to what we were before, a certain experience of what we were before. How do I get back there? How do I reach there? And that's what we're looking for. That is what the soul is looking for. That is what the soul is craving for. How do I get back to the beginning when things was just beautiful? How do I get back there? And in the quest of getting back there, we call it future. I'm looking for my future. How do I get to my future? What is in my future? When we go to meet a clairvoyant, a clairvoyant, a psychic, whatever, I will tell him, please tell me something about my future. What is in my future? Basically, what you are trying to ask him is, tell me about my past. How do I get back to my past? How do I get back to those experiences that I had in my past? That's what we're looking for. And
I got a question.
Yes.
When you go to a spiritualist and then the person just saw that you know everything, so why coming to me? And then the person will just sack you.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I do that a lot.
They'll just tell me leave, or they'll hang up the phone on me. Immediately they see my face, they just cut everything. I'm like, what is going on?
Yes.
What
Because
causes that? And then what's the issue there, please?
Because the soul knows the answer. A lot of us actually, we know what we're looking for, but we don't know how to get it.
It's true.
And hence and most often when we go to meet a psychic or an astrologer or stuff, it's nothing but just to affirm, please just tell me to accept what I'm already thinking, but I just need someone to, to push it for me to accept it. Maybe someone else other opinion to just tell me, okay, go for it. Already you know it. So when we go to meet some certain psychic, or they tell us, oh, what are you asking me? Why are you asking me questions to what you already know about? It's not actually the you at that moment that you're talking to, but it's actually the consciousness that is already aware.
So what about those who don't want to talk to me at all? They don't even want to see my face.
Then
What about that?
Then it means they don't have anything to tell you.
Okay.
Then it means they don't have anything to tell you. That is the reality. So
I got a question.
Wait, let me finish with is it Geraldine that asked the question before, or it was Nana?
I was the one. Nana.
Let me finish with that question, which is a lot of what we are looking for is the past. And when we ask what is my purpose? What is my purpose in this life? What is my purpose? How do I get back to my purpose? I'm looking for my purpose. What is my life purpose? It's still practically the same thing. How do I get back to what I was before? And when we see a child, when we see a baby, when the child is between 1 to 6, when a child is born, it's not born 1 month. People will call it 1 month. Oh, he's already 1 month old. No, it's not 1 month old. But we call it 1 month old because now it is 1 month, on the surface of the earth. But it has already been existing since time immemorial. Okay, but let's just put the scenario of a baby. When you see a baby, when you see a child, what feeling does it arouse in you just by looking at that child? You will see that just by looking at the child to someone that is far older, it arouses a feeling of childishness also in that person. That, oh, the person wants to cuddle, the person wants to carry the child like, and then the person wants to do the face, funny faces, whatever they wants to do, for the child. Because when you see a baby, that feeling, it arouses in you automatically that feeling of innocency that you once had, but you've lost. And hence, You know, what we are looking for is that feeling of what I had before that I've lost. I'm looking for those things back. And you see a man playing with a child or a woman playing with the child when the child is 9 months, 10 months, 1 year, 2 years. They play. But when that child starts getting to 6 years, 7 years, the play is not the same anymore. Why? Because the innocency is no longer the same. Are you guys understanding? So what we're looking for is nothing but a past experience we've had, a past life we've lived. That is what we're looking for. That is what is the future. And that is why I always say, what is most important is not about how you live your life, because you live your life trying to catch what is a certain experience of what you were before. What is most important is how you die. How you die. That is what is most important, not how you live your life. People will say, oh, he was a good man, he was this, he was that, he was that. But how did he die? Did you die defecating all over your body? If you die and you defecate in your body, you will go to hell. Especially if you defecate, because it means the soul came out from the anus. That is what it means. In this body, there are 9 gates in this human body. Do you want to know the 9 gates of the human body?
Yeah.
The 9 gates of the human body is what? There's 2 eyes. How many is this? 1, 2. There's 2 ears. How many? 4. There's 2 nostrils. 1, 2. How many is that? Let us count. 2
6,
eyes,
6,
2 ears,
4,
nostrils,
6,
the mouth,
7,
8,
the genital,
8,
and the anus.
10. Wow.
9.
9. 9. 9.
Yes. These are the 9 gates that the
I
soul,
remember. Sorry.
that the soul passes out of. And of these 9 gates, if the soul passes out from the top gate, it is good. But if the soul passes out from the lower gate, it is bad. That soul goes straight to hell. When a person
At the
dies,
ashram.
yes, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just gonna say at the ashram, Bhagavan had told us that every day you need to wash your 9 holes. And how important it is to do that cleansing. And then what you were saying also reminds me of, a lot of people that die also, the last thing will be their breath.
Yes.
And that is the soul leaving.
Yes. That is the soul leaving from whichever direction. If the people die and their mouth is open, it means what? The soul left from where? From the mouth.
The mouth.
Some people, when they die and their ear bleeds, the soul left from where? From the ear.
Yeah.
Same with the eyes also. Normally, the soul is supposed to leave from here, the tip here. Can you see my head? In this part of my head, if you guys can check yours also, there is a crown here. In this part of the head, there's a crown here. When you see a baby is born and you see this side of the head is very soft. Why is this part of the head more softer than the other part of the body?
Is that where the soul got in from?
That is where the soul came into the body from.
Okay.
And that is why it is said you need to practice in such a way that your soul came in from here, it should also leave from this angle. But people that get there are advanced mystics, advanced sages. People that are free from the dualities of material existence. They're the one that can raise their soul and passes you through all the 9 gates and push it out from the center of their head. But to those that leave their body defecating, they go to hell, because it means the soul came out of those areas. Because at the moment of death, the soul is looking for ways to come out of the body. The soul is free. Now it is looking for ways to come out of the bondage it has been since childhood. And hence it knocks on all the gates. It knocks on all the gates. But if you are able to raise it up, not to go down, but to go up, then yes, that is good. That is auspicious. That is called an auspicious death. So that is what is most important, not how you live your life, not how many followers you have or how many people you are able to influence, but how you live your life, how you die, That is what is most important.
So are we living for death?
But of course, that is what we are living for. All of us, we are just living, waiting, biding our time until the last day. And what is life? Life is nothing but a couple of thousands of breaths. That is what life is about, a couple of thousands of breaths. That's what life is about. And every day you're breathing, you're wasting the breath. And that is why it says, mind your breath. Don't waste it. Okay. Yes, someone wanted to say something.
Yes. Can we determine how we die? Can we how we die?
I didn't hear you. Did you guys hear her? I didn't hear.
Can we determine how we die?
Can we determine how we die? Oh, yes. 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 Some people can do that, but not all people.
Can somebody kill you before your time?
Yes.
The question.
Yes. In a certain lifetime, I was killed.
How do you know?
Because I'm Sukadeva. In a certain lifetime, I was killed because the memory is still there.
So how do you prevent that to happen to you if somebody is trying to kill you before your time?
You can't prevent it. You can only try as much as possible to be prepared for it. Just like you can't prevent that, no matter how much you might try, how much medicine.
I was saying before your time, maybe God has given you certain time and somebody wants to take you off before that time.
There's nothing as someone taking you off before your time, or there's nothing as accidental death or, accidental death. Everything is already predestined. And that is what I spoke in my last seminar, and I spoke about something about the soul's movement, and one of them is predestination. So when we say someone died, oh, he died untimely, oh, it's an untimely death, he still has a lot of lifetime in him, and then he died. That is a different, such death is not the death that is done by killing. Such death that is called untimely death are death that is done by suicide. Suicide. People that kills themselves. That is an untimely death. But people that were killed by others, no, that is not an untimely death. That is a predestined death.
What will happen to someone's soul that does die by suicide?
Well, they don't go, they live in the form of a ghost. And they stay in the body of a ghost for the numbers of life air that was supposed to be in the body that they sniffed out quickly from.
They're trapped.
Yes, they stay in that body until that number of life air, because each and every one of us, we are all given a particular gauge. It's like we are all given a. Have you seen a sound time before? Have you seen a sound time before? Okay, so each and every one of us, we are all given a sound time, and that sound time is what? Our life air. And my prayer all the time is, my dear Lord, I don't know how much life air I have left in this body. I don't know how much life air my body is going to take, but I beg you that in whichever life air that I may have, please help me that I might be useful to others and also to you. That is my prayer. That is my prayer. Because we are all nothing but just a couple of thousands of life air. Now that life air can be up to your age of 20, can be up to your age of 40, can be up to your age of 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. It's nothing but just a couple of thousands of life air. Now, how you use it is most precious. What you use it for, that is what is most important. These are precious.
I've noticed in a lot of religions and spiritual practices, they are focused on what their consciousness, they say what your consciousness is focused on when you die is where you will be as well.
That is true. What you remember at the point of death, that is what you attain.
So and then, because I imagine if we may not have an opportunity to necessarily remember something, if depending on how the death is. So then would it be about how we prepare that our consciousness through our lifetime for that time so that it can be already at a higher state,
yes,
already in remembrance?
Yes, because death is very painful. Death is very painful. Have you seen a person dying in your front before? Like really, really dying in your front? Have you seen? Death is very painful. And because death is very painful, no one is ever ready for it. So at that moment of death, your mind cannot think. Your intelligence cannot think. Everything is this. How do I explain it? Have you had a certain blow to your head or to your body that at that moment you are just in pain? You can't think, you can't scream, you can't do any, but the pain is just so excruciating. You know, you can't, nothing makes sense to you. Everything is just, nothing makes sense. This is death. But now the activities you do, the activities you constantly do, that serves as the anchor for you to remember at the point when this death is happening. Now, if those activities are good, then that becomes an anchor. Okay, I remember this. I remember this. Because at the moment of your death, all the activities you've done from when you were a baby till the last moment is going to start flashing through your eyes. All the people you've betrayed, all the people you've taken advantage of, all the people you've broken their heart, all the people that have felt humiliated by you, every one of them, every single one of them, no one is going to be missed. All of them is going to play in your face. You're going to see them. So at that moment, which thought can you hold on to? Which thought? But when you have a strong discipline that is consistent, then that becomes the anchor to hold on to at the point of death.
Discipline is challenging as well. What can you say about discipline?
Discipline is challenging to the mind that is dull.
Okay.
But to the mind that is not dull, discipline is not challenging. Discipline is bliss. All right. Okay. I've not had any question from iPhone 202 and Ruta. Any question? Any question? Okay.
Okay, so I have a question. I don't know if it's like a question, but I add when people say, you know how people die and when they come back to the world, or maybe when they have a newborn baby in the house, and they will be like, oh, this is my grandfather. You understand? This is my grandmother, or this is my, first child. She came back and, stuff like that. Is it true? Because a lot of people will say, oh, they don't believe in it. Once you're dead, you're dead. You don't come back to the world anymore and stuff like that. But I believe in it.
Reincarnation. Were you in my last seminar last Thursday?
No.
Okay.
No.
You see, reincarnation plays a lot of major role in the movement of the soul. And we all have nothing but a product of a certain incarnation. We all. Let me give you an example. You see, in Africa, the belief of reincarnation is very strong. I believe in reincarnation. Reincarnation is a fact. It's not just like a hoblo joblo. No. It's a fact. So, in Africa, there was my grandmama, which is my mother's mother. Her mother passed away. When her mother passed away, then she had 3 children. And of the 3 children, she said they are all her grandmother. So the question is, how can one soul reincarnate into 3 different people? This was when she said this some years ago. I was very young by then. I really don't know anything by then. And then when I started growing and making my research and all of that, I believe, yes, that's true. Reincarnation is there, but reincarnation, a soul does not fall into 3 people, does not reincarnate as 3 people. It is impossible. One at a time. But now in a family that thinks that, my father passed away, so now I have a child, so it is my father that has come back again to me. And then they give themselves some names, Baba Tunde, Mama Tunde, Nena, Nana, they give so many names like that. In such instances, it is not true. But when the soul dies, it moves on to the next destination. And that next destination does not necessarily mean it is in the same family. It's like this. When I'm done talking to you guys here, I'll go to my next project, or what is it that is the next thing that I'm supposed to do. Does not mean that I'm going to follow you home. My words will follow you home. That is a fact. My words now is being impregnated in your mind, has impregnated your mind. And this word is going to follow you for some time. Because it's there, but the physical person is not there. The physical person will be busy doing something. Maybe I'm just, after this conversation with you guys now, maybe I'm just going to go and start playing my Nintendo. Or maybe I'm just going to go and look for something, some cheese and pizza to eat. What I'm trying to explain to you guys is to let you understand a certain concept. And that is, it is not naturally true that when the soul dies in a particular family, it comes back to that family again. It only comes back to that family again when there are unfinished businesses. And what are the unfinished businesses that makes a soul to reincarnate back in the same family? One, when that soul is not able to give an heir to the family. A male heir to continue the lineage or to continue the curse that it has inherited. When that soul is not able to give a male heir, then it is reincarnated back into the family to continue so that it can produce the heir, then it can move forward. An example is this: a man that has only female children, not having a male child, only female children. that man will be born again and again in that family until he's able to have a male child so that he can move forward. And also to those people that refuses to have a child, oh no, I don't want to have a child. To those people that refuses to have a child, they will be born into that same family again and again until they have a child, that a male child, so that they can move forward. This is the condition of the universe. This is what I'm teaching you guys right now is a deep occultic science. It's a fact. It's a fact. It's not just a mental concussion, it's a fact. So to those family that like, okay, my father died, so my father has been reborn back again. Sometimes these are not true. And sometimes they base it based on the dreams that they have. You know what? My father passed away, so I had a dream and I saw him telling me that he's coming back to me. And after a few days, my wife was pregnant. So yes, my father has come back again to me. You know, they base it based on the dream. I had an auntie, although her son is no more, the boy is no more now. When she was pregnant, she had a distant uncle that passed away. Now the distant uncle appeared in her dream and told her, you know what, I'm missing you so much. Don't worry, I am coming back to you. Yeah, I'm coming back to you. So she didn't understand it. And then she found out that she was pregnant. Like, it is my uncle that has come back to me. And to commemorate it, she gave the child the name of the uncle. And what happened? Yeah, the child stayed, but also the child died. So is it the uncle that has died again? No. The soul moves on to its next destination. The next destination does not necessarily have to be the same family it took birth in. You understand it?
Yes. So what if the soul move on to the next destination? Does that same soul remember the past? You know how?
Yes, it does.
Especially Africans, I don't know, in Nigeria, whereby they'll say, oh, every Thursday, the ghost comes home and you have to prepare something for them. You understand? So I'm like, or you know, whereby they'll say, okay, my mother is watching out for me. Something was about to happen to me in my dream, and she rescued me. You know, something like that. Does it exist? Like, does that same?
That is hoblo joblos. That is hoblo joblos. It's just a hoblo joblo. This is the mental hypnosis that people put themselves just to feel a certain sense of closure. Especially, you see, death is so painful. We get so much attached to people that we don't want to accept the fact that they are totally gone. And another sense that we can get closure is, okay, the person has come back again to me. Or, yes, my mother is protecting me. My father is protecting me. No, your ancestors are protecting you, not your mother, not your father. Oh, no. In Africa, we have from a very superstitious belief where we take some certain worship and some certain rites so seriously. It is important that we understand. Ghosts don't come to meet you on Thursdays. I understand where this concept is coming from. There was a lady, she's one of my students also. She told me that in the side of Africa where she's from, they told them not to take their bath on Thursdays. They don't take bath, you know, on Thursdays. Why? Because, you know, a ghost comes around or some spirit comes around. So if you take your bath, it's like you are pushing away, selling away your good luck or stuff like that. So I said, that is nonsense. That is deep ignorance. It's not like that. Every dark moon night, the ancestors comes around, the portal is open. Not every Thursday. And what you need to do is just to give water. So reincarnation, there are two types of reincarnation. There's reincarnation and there's transmigration. Reincarnation is when the soul takes another human body. Transmigration is when the soul falls down from a human body and takes the body of an animal. So all of us, we've passed through these processes in our life. We've been transmigrated from one body to another body. We've taken the body of an animal. We've taken the body of a cockroach. We've taken the body of a lizard. We've taken the body of an ant. We've taken the body of a snake. We've taken all bodies that existed in this world. But the body of a human being is the highest. So you having this human body itself is a blessing, because it is only in this human body that you can worship God. In any other body, you can't. It is only in this human body that you can begin the journey of self-realization. In the body of an animal, you can't. So take this human body seriously and inquire. Go on a journey of self-realization. Inquire about your relationship with God, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to be connected to Him, so that you don't fall down from this human body and fall down into the body of an animal. Because falling into the body of an animal, then you have to pass through the process again to be able to come back to the human body. Does it make sense?
When
Yeah.
you say,
Oh, sorry. You can go ahead.
no, you please.
Yeah. So, like I said, I imagine a lot. So there was one time I was like, okay, if I'm about to die now, like God forbid, anytime, and you know, like if you're about to die, you would know you want to die, right? I don't know if that's true, but that's what I had. So I'm like, I'm gonna tell God that if I'm gonna come back to this life again, this is what I want to be. You know, there's some certain things I'm gonna tell God, like, oh, I want to be a good person. I want to be this. I want to do this. Can that happen?
No,
Like,
you don't decide.
no.
Your activities right now is what makes way for that.
Okay.
It's not like you're going to meet God and God say, you know what, God, now I'm going to go back again into the body. So please put me in a rich family. Let my mama be like this. Let my papa be like this. You don't decide that. You don't decide that. Your actions right now, your activities right now, what you do right now, that is what decides your next destination. The thoughts, and that is why I'm talking about this mental poisoning. Mental poisoning, the thought that you allow to predominate your mind right now. The thought that you allow to predominate your mind the most, that you allow to occupy your thinking process the most, that is what determines your next destination. And that is why it says, be mindful of everything, but also be mindful of your thoughts. Stand guard at the gate of your mind. Stand guard, 24 hours, stand guard at the gate of what? At the gate of your mind. Because your thoughts right now, that is what determines where your next destination is going to be, which is where your next life is going to be. It's not like when death happens, then you're going to go and meet God and then God is going to judge you. This is the mental hypnosis that people have been put upon, that they think that after death, they are going to go to heaven and then God is going to judge them. There's going to be an angel that's going to judge them and tell them, okay, no, you did this, so you're going to this place, you did this, you're going. No, the moment you die, based on the activities you do, judgment is taking place immediately. You're going to your next destination.
What I experienced, because I do have experience of lots of people that die, or died, and they confess a lot. Some of them confess negative things, some good things, some, a lot apologize. But yeah, the good and the bad of which I've experienced it all. They die. And me myself, I almost died about 3 times in hospital. And like you were saying with the pain, I go through pain that I've painted a lot before. So I have the experience of what you're saying. I'm only listening to help controlling. Yeah.
Wonderful. So we should stand guard
And
at the door.
the bowel, like you're saying, the eyes, the mouth, yeah.
See? Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. So we need to stand guard at what? The doors of our mind. Okay, on this, I would like to close the curtain for today's seminar. It's already 10:58 in my side. I don't know what time it might be in different part of your location, because I know it's going to be very early in the morning in some places, and it can be, already midnight. Yes, Mr. Jeffrey.
Sorry. I have one question. Just
Okay.
this one then. Sorry.
All right.
Okay. In terms of when you meditate, is that a particular form of meditation and a sort of like a drink or just thing or any kind of thing, like just like how people when they go gym, they have things they take to stir up their muscles. I think because I know back home those days when we're back home, I see the herbalists when they wanna do some prayers and whatnot. They have something they when they prayed and whatnot, they will drink it. It's not they will drink it before they start calling the gods and whatnot. Is there in terms of practicing finding yourself, is there certain things you do before you meditate and pray as well? Or drink to take or anything to do?
We meditate every day. What is meditation?
Yeah, I got that from the breathing thing that you said.
The breathing aside.
Okay.
What is meditation?
Okay.
anything you fixate your mind
Reflecting on
upon,
your thoughts,
yes, anything you fixate your
your
mind
mind
so much
upon, yeah.
upon, that is meditation. If you are thinking too much of money, I want 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 money, that is a meditation. I want to get married, I want to get married, I want to get married, I want to get married. That is a meditation. And the question is, what is your meditation going to do for you? So what is true meditation? What true meditation is not just to, get you in a certain alignment, because a lot of people that practice meditation without not understanding the process or the essence of meditation are always in a psychotic state. They are mentally not stable. Look at them. People that sit down and they sit for so many hours doing meditation, and all of that, but not knowing what is the object of meditation or what is to be meditated upon, they are mentally unstable. They give, oh, I just love the universe. They are mentally unstable. They are psychotic. So what is meditation? To meditate, you must know what to meditate upon. Meditate. Mana. Meditate means to give the mind a direction. To give the what? The mind a direction. But for you to be able to give the mind a direction, you must be able to allow the mind to listen to the direction that is given by the intelligence. And how do you do that? First, you must learn to control your breathing. And it starts with 4 processes. It starts with 3 processes, actually. If you can control the thoughts that stays in, if you can control, how do you control your breathing? First, you must control what you put into your mouth. You must control. Yes, you must control the kind of food you put into your mouth, the kind of food you put into your stomach. Because see, everything is on a straight line. From the head to the stomach, to the mouth, to the stomach, to the genitals. Everything is on a straight line. If you control the food that you put in your mouth, you'll be able to control the urges of your stomach. If you control the urges of your stomach, you'll be able to control the urge of the genital. When a person eats too much, or eats too much of food that is filled with so much passion, it's difficult for the person to control the urge of the genital. The sexual desire is very high. In such states, you can't control your breathing. There is a Sanskrit word that says, there's a Sanskrit word that says, Atyahara prayasascha prajapuniyama graha jana sangascha lolyam cha sabdi bhakti vinasyati. Atyahara prayasascha prajapo atyahara prayas prajalpo. Speaking unnecessarily. How do you speak unnecessarily? You speak unnecessarily when the food that you put into your mouth is not proper. The kind of words that comes out of our mouth are also are influenced by the kind of food that we put into our body. Then we want to hear gossip. Then the mind is restless. Why? Prajapo niyamagraha. Niyama, atyahara, the urge. If you can control the urge of the mouth, the urge of the stomach, the urge of the genitals, the demand of the stomach, yeah, and the urge of anger, the urge of speech. For you to be able to control the urge to speak, you must be able to control the things you put into your mouth, like food. When there's so much, when you put too much food that is made of violence, the thought that will permeate in your mind is also going to be that of thoughts related to violence. When you put food in the mode of goodness, the thought that is going to permeate in your mind is also going to be thoughts related to goodness. Do you understand? Then when this is there, and then you can control the urge of what? Anger, krodha. When you can control anger. And for you to control, see, the mouth, it comes to the mind. The mind creates what? Krodha. And then it goes to the genital. When the stomach is heavy, it pulls heavily on the genitals. And then this creates what? Strong sexual desires. It creates lustiness. So if you can learn to control these principles that I've explained to you, then then it becomes easy for you to know what is the object of meditation. What is the object to be meditated upon? Not just saying, okay, you know what, I want to meditate, and then I'm gonna go and sit down under a tree, but you don't control the kind of food you eat, you don't control what you put into your mouth, you don't control the urges of your anger, the urges and the demands of your stomach. You eat whatever you get, whatever you just put it in your mouth, you don't control this, and hence the stomach is weighing heavily on the genital, and hence there's the craving, the sexual craving, the lustiness. You don't control it. Then how can you control your mind? What can you meditate upon? How will you even be able to meditate and control your breathing process? It's impossible. Do you understand it, Mr. Jeffrey?
Yes, I do.
So thank you all very much for being present here. It's amazing. You guys are a wonderful audience. I've been speaking since 8 o'clock. Mauritius time now is 11. Amazing. Thank you all, for being present with me. I'm very, very grateful, and I hope you all learned something. And been seeing, there are some faces that I've been seeing repeatedly. Don't worry, I have special gifts for the people I'm seeing repeatedly again and again. And hopefully I'm going to see you in my next seminar. I have not yet decided on what I'm going to be speaking about, but hopefully we'll see you. And God bless you. I will be sending you a recording. Basically, it's a YouTube link. I'll be sending you. You can watch all the recordings of my classes. You can watch it there. And also, I'll be sending you the materials, which is the booklet of what I wrote today on this seminar of mental poisoning. It's a 7-page. The last time I think I wrote up to 22 page. Now it's like 7 page, so you can keep it. Part of the materials that I'm going to be sending.
Let's finish. Mommy, you're like,
part of the materials that I'm going to be sending to each and every one of you. So it will be sent to your mail, and from there you can also try to access the video on YouTube. It won't be now, maybe to be by tomorrow or your time, but definitely you will receive it.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Can I ask, sir, have you got copy of last week class? Have you got like a recording copy I could pay for it?
Yeah, but I sent it all also to your email. Did you send your email the last time, Suzette?
No.
So you should check your email. Check your email, because I sent all. Did you receive Aya?
I didn't send my email in time, but I sent it to.
Okay. All right. Who was here last week? Nana, were you here last week?
Yes, I received mine.
Okay. So to those that sent their email, I sent them the copy, for them to be able to go through.
I'll send. I'll send my
All right.
email.
So you send it and we'll send you the copy, for you. It's part of the seminar material that you need to have. So thank you all. God bless you. And, see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Have a wonderful